Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Huggaduck3 and welcome to Tech Saturday episode 20, where today I'm going to be giving you guys a $600 Intel gaming PC. So without further ado, let's get started. So to kick off this build for the CPU, I went with the Intel Core i3-4130. This is a dual core processor clocked at 3.4 GHz. This CPU does have hyperthreading, so Windows will recognize this CPU as a quad core instead of a dual core. It supports the LGA 1150 socket and it has a TDP of 54 watts. So I chose this CPU because for a cheap budget build like this CPU is great. Even though it is a dual core, that doesn't really matter since this CPU does have hyperthreading, and from what I've seen, this CPU doesn't really bottleneck the GPU that much until you put something like a GTX Titan in. Then you will really see it bottleneck. But for $123.98, this CPU should, like I say in every single one of my PC build videos, get the job done for you. Now for the motherboard, I decided to go with the Gigabyte GA-H81M-H. This is a micro ATX motherboard that uses the LGA 1150 socket. It sports the Intel H81 chipset. It has two 240-pin DIMM slots. It uses DDR3 memory, which gets maxed out at 16 GB, and has speeds ranging from 1333 MHz all the way up to 1600 MHz. There is no RAID support on this board. It does not have Crossfire or SLI support. It does have two SATA 3 GB ports and two SATA 6 GB ports. So I know this board isn't feature packed, but you know, for a budget build, what do you expect? But hey, at least you're getting a board that will satisfy your gaming needs and comes from a reliable company. And down the road, if you want to, you could put an i7 in this machine. I just wouldn't do any overclocking on this board. And this motherboard can be yours for the low price of $54.99. So now for the memory, I went with two sticks of ADATA XPG V1 RAM. So both sticks are 4 GB. So if we do some simple math here, 4 plus 4 equals fish. And if we divide the fish by 2, we get 8. So in total, you're getting 8 GB of memory, and both sticks are clocked at 1600 MHz. So there's not much I can really say about this memory, other than it's reliable, it's cheap, and it should last you until your next memory upgrade. So overall, for $64.99, this memory should not disappoint. So for the storage drive, I went with the Western Digital AV-GP. This is a 500 GB hard drive that spins at 5400 RPM, and it has a 3.5-inch form factor. So nothing really new here. I go with Western Digital drives a lot in my builds, and it's the same reason every single time. 1, the drive is reliable. 2, it's made in the USA, and 3, it's cheap. How cheap, you might ask? Well, on Amazon, this drive will run you about $43.95. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty cheap. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to reveal the GPU for this budget build. Drum roll, please. For the GPU, I went with the MSI Radeon R7 260X. This GPU is clocked at 1.05 GHz. It has 2 GB of GDDR5 memory. It does support Crossfire. It has one DVI-I dual link port, one DVI-D dual link port. It also has one display port, one HDMI port, and it has a TDP of 115 watts. So you guys and gals are probably wondering, why this card? Well, I chose this card because I trust MSI, and this card for the price does perform pretty well, and it has both Mantle and AMD's True Audio technology, so that's nice to have, and the price is pretty nice too. So this card only costs $119.99, so for that price you're getting a great card that should be able to play most games at around medium to high settings, and some games at ultra settings. Not bad. Now for the power supply, I went with the Corsair Builder. This is a 500 watt power supply that is 80+ bronze certified, and this power supply is not modular. Frowny face. So I chose this power supply because I trust Corsair's power supplies, and I have seen many great reviews of this power supply, and 500 watts is all you need for this build, so no worries there. And the cost of this power supply comes out to $64.99. So yeah, it should get the job done for you. And finally for the case, I went with the Cooler Master Elite 430. So this is ATX mid-tower case. It has 2 front panel USB 2.0 ports, 2 external 3.5 inch bays, 3 external 5.25 inch bays, 5 internal 3.5 inch bays, and the dimensions are 19.29 inches in length, 20.48 inches in width, 16.69 inches in depth, and the maximum GPU length in this case is 12.40 inches. So I chose this case because I like Cooler Master cases, especially for budget builds like this. And what I like is that they made this a really cheap case, but they didn't sacrifice the design. This, it's still a pretty good looking case despite its $44.99 price tag. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And that is the build. So the estimated wattage that this machine will be using is 253 watts. So that 500 watt power supply should get the job done for you. And if you were just buying the hardware for this build and already have a copy of Windows or plan to install SteamOS, your final cost is $517.88. Now if you plan on getting the hardware and a copy of Windows 7, your final cost is $612.86. And if you plan on getting the hardware and a copy of Windows 8.1, your final price is $607.87. And as always, I will have a link to this build in the description below. So I hope you guys and gals enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and if you didn't enjoy the video, go ahead and leave a dislike. And that is it, and I will see you guys on Monday for Live Monday. This is your boy Hogdeck3, and I'm out. God bless.